Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we are going to be doing a commentary video talking about the social kind of perspective and the overall perspective of Pokemon Unite, at least in like the vocal community. So first and foremost, let me go ahead and get this out of the way. There's always going to be a game, right, that has two very different sides of the community, at least in part, probably more than two, but two very different sides of the community. There's going to be the casual player base that, you know, engages in the game a little bit here and there, maybe a couple times a week, maybe a game or two a night at most, but they're, you know, they don't tend to overly engage themselves. They're not really watching a ton of content. It's going to be a lot of the people that aren't watching this, or maybe even some of y'all that are watching this, that just don't really have a ton of time to give or aren't really interested in that. They don't really tend to watch pro play. You know, it's just kind of like the, hey, this is a cool game, let me get on and play it for a little bit. And then you have what is much more the vocal minority, the people that are much more invested. And this kind of is all encompassing for the content creators, the competitive players, streamers included in that. And just people that are more interested, even if they're not necessarily creating anything or playing competitively. It's the vocal community on Twitter and Reddit, the people in Discords that are constantly talking about the game and giving their opinions, talking about the meta, sharing their concepts of what they want to see. It's the very engaged community and the very disengaged communities that I'm kind of talking about here. So when it comes to this particular discussion, talking about what is the perception, the overall like social perception of the game, we're talking about the vocal minority, because I can't speak for what people who I can't really engage with or reach are feeling and thinking. It's basically impossible. And every now and then those people are on like Twitter and stuff, and you'll see those opinions kind of seep in, I think, but it's really, really hard to account for what those people are thinking. Now, again, vocal minority tends to be a smaller percentage of the overall player base, people that are, you know, just the creators and the, like I said, all of those categories of people. And what are we feeling? Well, honestly, if you start to pay attention now, and I would be very surprised to hear if you have a differing opinion or a differing perspective, it feels like everyone is now starting to agree that Pokemon Unite is kind of not doing so well. Now, I don't want to go on my super aggro rant and say that the game is dying, although that is where I feel, but I don't really need to do that. I just want to talk about what we're starting to see. More and more players are starting to kind of voice their opinions season over season, seeing less and less big changes for some of the things that we've, you know, been asking for or wanting to see. And I want to go ahead and make a list of some of my main things that I think really are big issues for the game. A big one right now, and definitely this is probably the biggest issue that people are talking about, not necessarily the biggest issue that the game has, is the way that like monetization, new mons, gold, and everything is being handled. You know, the coin cap is still in place, the characters are coming out, the Pokemon are coming out gem released for a week, you know, basically forcing you to pay money if you want to, unless you want to wait. The characters are now coming out, you know, 12k, 14k, 15k ever since Tyranitar came out, and it's just the overall feeling of, hey, what's going on here? Like, why have things changed so much to the point where it's becoming more expensive, it's becoming more gated away, it's becoming more greedy and kind of like shameless business practice coming from the developers in terms of how we acquire things and how we are able to engage with the game. Now, for my opinion to kind of have any weight here, I do need to say that if you're a completely free-to-play player, you're not really supposed to have every Pokemon. I think that you're always going to have to strike the balance between knowing that they need to keep the free-to-play players happy. I'm going to put a pin in that for a second, but they also need to make money. It is important for any business, especially a free-to-play game developer, to make money off of their game. Now, there's lots of microtransactions in this game. You have all the different things that you can buy, the battle pass, the membership, the $40 holowares. There's plenty of monetization in this game. So I do think that striking that balance is very, very important. And when it comes to gem releases, it's incredibly greedy. It's shameless. Like I said, it's just something that you don't have to do, because the players aren't even earning enough gold to earn every single Pokemon anyways. So the issue with this particular issue is that you're starting to frustrate the free-to-play players. You're starting to lose their confidence and their faith in you as a developer, because they're thinking, hey, why am I being treated this way? Why are the gem locks in place? Why am I not you know, able to, you know, grind and earn more gold? Now, the reason, now I'm taking that pin out, the reason why this is so important is because in order for a free-to-play game to be healthy, you need two things. You need people that are willing to pay and that are going to, fund the game and the project, and the people that are kind of, just a little bit more willing to spend. And then you need a very, very healthy free-to-play community. And the reason why you need a free-to-play community is because games don't like this, like PvP games like this, instance kind of battles and MOBAs, like these team v team games, they don't really work if you don't have a healthy player base size. And I'm talking about density, like the number of players, because with a healthy size of player base, this decreases matchmaking times. This makes it to where you can tune the matchmaking to be a little bit more accurate. It gives the game a feeling of fullness. It keeps the conversation, again, the public perception, it keeps the conversation thriving because these people are happy. It's word of mouth marketing. They talk about, oh yeah, dude, I love this game. It's so good. They give us all this stuff. Like, it's all about keeping the ecosystem of the game's player base very, very happy. And so I think we are starting to see a bit of a shift with that, where that ecosystem is kind of now being threatened, and the free-to-play player base is getting a little bit more and more frustrated. Now, that aside, like I said, not the biggest issue that the game is facing. In my opinion, it's the lack of an incentive grind. Now, here's what we have. We have Pokemon Unite, where standard matches are basically not incentivized at all. So what's kind of naturally happened in my eyes is that standard is kind of just a barren wasteland. Like, I don't play it at all. I think I have like almost 5,000 matches played, and like 4,800 or 4,900 of them are ranked matches on my main account. And standard, from what I've been told, and whenever I've queued it, in the past, you get bot matches. And so bot matches are not a very good sign of player density. And I can't say that this is anything other than anecdotal evidence to say that maybe standard doesn't have a very good population of players per server playing in it. I can't say that definitively, but I do think that's a pretty decent assumption to make. And what happens is, because there's no reason to play standard, like literally no reason at all, it's not incentivized it in the slightest, ranked has become standard, and ranked has become the primary game mode, the competitive playlist where you start off in the lower ranks and you try to grind up for basically everyone. Now, this is where it leads into our ranked issues. Ranked is opened up way too early in Pokemon Unite. Ranked is given to you before you have all your item slots. The first two ranks, or the first rank, I don't remember which one it is, are nothing but bot matches. You can get bot matches all the way through like veteran and maybe ultra. I don't really know. They tend to change it around a little bit. And you have the performance point system, which I've talked about ad nauseum, in the past, in terms of how I don't like that you can basically get free sponged win, or like free wins, free sponged losses, things like that. And you have an inflated rank system where now the vast majority of the player base is playing ranked, which is like fine. Or I say the vast majority, I think a large majority of the player base is playing ranked, and you have people that are just inflating and boosting their way through the system, right? Not literally boosting, but the way that the game works, everybody's inflated, everybody's climbing up. And we've talked about this a lot, like I said. So we have a rank system that's not very good. We have a rank system that doesn't have very good matchmaking. And essentially, the rank system is the normal game mode that everybody is playing. So over time, and I've been saying this for about 12 months or so, 10, anywhere between 10 and 14 months, over time, the players are going to realize that the experience of playing the game is just not that good. Now, the gameplay is amazing. Everybody knows this. It's what we all have. It's the only thing we really have to fall back on when it comes to Unite, because we're not getting better business practice from them, and we're not getting any communication from them. And we get little innovations here and there, the sky runes and such, the emblems and such, but it's not really enough to keep the grind going. The game does not have a grind. If you're a solo duo player, actually no, let me pause that. If you're a 5-stack player, the game has a grind. You can constantly push yourself higher up on the ladder every season. At the beginning of the season, you can see tweets from competitive players pushing for World First Rank 1 Season 7, At the end of the season, you'll see people tweeting out, hey, me and my group, or me and my team, finished top 30. That's all a grind. That's what everyone should be able to do if you want to be a ranked player. But unfortunately, if you are not, someone that fits that kind of category, maybe trios here and there, you're not really climbing. You don't really get, the world ranking really doesn't mean anything to you. You can't really push yourself that high up it anyways, and you're just kind of stuck to play the gameplay alone. Now, here's the problem with a game that is a live service game that just has good gameplay. There's lots of those. there's lots of great gameplay live service games. The problem is that a lot of those other games also have built-in grinds, incentives for getting on and playing, or at least better incentives, better rewards. And so the overall package of a game feels much better. Now, I have talked about this quite a bit, at least in streams. There is a difference between Pokemon Unite having good gameplay and Pokemon Unite being a good game. In my opinion, I think Pokemon Unite has fantastic gameplay, but I do not personally think that Pokemon Unite is a good game as a total package. What all does it offer a player? I don't think it's the best that it could have been, or that it could be, or that it ever was. I think it's in a pretty rough spot in terms of, now that we've kicked the can down the road so long, we realize that there's really not a lot here, right? There's, season 7, still no reason to grind the game solo past 1600 when you get your sticker. The matchmaking throws you with players of all skill ranges, all ranks, essentially, a variety of ranks, different, win rates and such. There's no real leaderboard for you to grind unless you're, playing in higher groups. And so you kind of look around and you realize, oh wow, I don't really know why I'm playing this instead of Overwatch 2 or League of Legends or Teamfight Tactics or, Fortnite for, the fun, or pretty much anything else that has a live service business model to it. So why am I saying all this? Because the public perception of the vocal minority is starting to change. We are seeing more competitive players talk about it. Jungle Book of Blackhand, winner of Worlds, not happy with the game. Indie Bear, still having fun on the game, but admittedly frustrated, not happy with the game, and many, many more. I mean, myself, Loosh, he talks about, his issues with the game, mainly him being an Australian player who is forced to play in, a variety of different pings and regions because they just don't give us a server selection, at least for him. Chris Heroes, posting on Twitter about it. And I'm probably not going to put all these examples up on the screen, but my point is that if you're someone that pays attention to the vocal minority, content creators, myself, other YouTubers, streamers, Curly Q, like I said, just throwing out all the names of people that I've seen, then you know that we all are starting to feel the same. So what can we do? Well, honestly, all we can do is share our feedback and hope that it doesn't fall on deaf ears. Unfortunately, in my position, I think that that's exactly what's happened. So that's pretty much where I want to leave it. I want to talk about, kind of give a refresher on like some of the things that are going on in the game, share my thoughts about what I think they could improve, and then kind of just talk about the public perception and how I think we're starting to see a shift in the community. So friends, if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments down below. I did the October United knowingly that it was not going to do anything. Boycotting their game, not giving them money just with me and, however many people do it, it's not going to do anything. Talking about the game, it's not going to do anything. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that there is anything that we can do. But I remain vigilant. I talk about the issues in hopes of a better game, a better tomorrow for Pokemon Unite, in hopes that, who knows, maybe they'll reach out, maybe they'll, extend an olive branch and start giving us more communication. Who knows? It's definitely not past the point of no return, but I fear that day might be coming. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I definitely do appreciate it. Drop a like on the video, subscribe for future Pokemon Unite content. Ooh, I tried to speedrun that. As always, be sure to be kind of one of them. Tell someone you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.